Hello, everyone. I'm Joel Trout, and welcome to the Books of the Month show. It is my distinct honor and privilege today to share with you the life story and this amazing story about one man's love for his wife. I have here today to promote his book about his wife, Mr. Pradeep Berry. Thanks for coming, Mr.
Thank you
Pradeep
very
Berry.
much, Mr. Trout, for inviting me.
Wonderful. You know, it's our privilege to promote books from all types of subjects, and this one is very interesting because it's simply about his love for his wife. We've seen all types of books with all types of themes, but this, not a very thin book, but a very involved volume about his wife, Constance, or My Connie. And so today, I want everyone to understand the author of the book before we go into the story about his wife. And so, Pradeep, I just want you to explain to our listeners where you come from.
Well, actually, I am originally from India. I was born in India, and I was raised there, and I was very well educated back in India. I went to school, high school, and I was 16 years old when I finished my high school in a very top degree. Then I went to one of the best colleges in the country. It is called Shri Ram College of Commerce. It is only specialized in the commerce, and they are very choosy. They only will take out of 50, 60,000 only 200 people. So I was very lucky enough to go to that college.
Wonderful.
And I passed it in a very top division. And in that college, and in school before, I was in the Boy Scouting. I took a lot of interest in Boy Scouting. And just so you know, that during the time of our first Prime Minister, Pandit Nehru, I was his personal Boy Scouting during the Ram Leela ground, when they used to have functions, I used to go and there. So I participated too much in the Boy Scouting, and then I become the number one man, and then later on all these
Eagle Scout, right?
yeah, I was Eagle Scout, and I attended about 13 Boy Scouting camping.
Now, you relayed some information to me that I think it's important for readers to understand about you because it says a lot about your subject, and that is you had some experiences that I would call perhaps traumatic
Yes.
that I believe affected your life and led you to such a great appreciation for his wife. And could you explain to people about your early life and the tragedies that you had growing up?
Well, actually, the tragedies were that I was born into a very wealthy family. My grandfather, Lala Durga Prasad Berry, and he was a very wealthy merchant. And we had different diversified businesses, you see. And we were living in a very giant house. And then he had a lot of other properties also. But so some degree, I think it is unfortunate that his own four children, they were not very educated, and they did not take much interest, and they basically, to some degree, in my opinion, they were the destructive. They ruined the business, especially after my grandfather. And my grandfather, I remember very well, and I openly tell you this thing that when we were growing up, every night and every morning, we have to press his legs. And we were getting any blessings every morning, and it was important for us to value and honor the elderly people. And then he was a very disciplined person. And he was, I mean, everybody was scared of him. Not only his personality, but because he was the president of the All India Kirana Committee, and he was a president of the Delhi many societies, and he was a very big donator.
So, in your culture, obviously, following and honoring
Yes.
the elders
It
was
was
very
important,
important.
very important, very important, very important.
Now, you had relayed to me that he told your father that he needed to be married and he was going to actually choose the girl he was going to marry. Was that the way that they operated then, or would select?
No, actually, what happened, that one of his agent, because my grandfather, he had agents, working for him. and he had the employees, he had when he was the president, and he could give a ticket, to become anybody a broker of the kirana merchant, and anybody who he gave the tickets, they become multimillionaire, and then he gave a ticket to his own son, and he did not do anything, his own son. So,
Which was your father?
no, my father's younger brother,
Your father's younger brother.
And my father was very much involved in the thing. He was, I think, in my opinion, he was at least was willing to work, and his elder brother, he was also working. But you see, working and going to the shop is one thing, but having a smart work, that was lacking, So he was most of the work, it was depending upon one of our employees, his name was DB, I'll call him Darbari Mal. And he was the one, who was handling all the business, So they were all dependent on my grandfather and Darbari Mal and couple of other things.
So tell me, how did, because I wanted to get to the part about the marriage between your mom and your father and what happened subsequently.
All right, basically what it was, my elder brother, my father's elder brother, he was married to a very rich family, and then he lost his wife, and he had a daughter, from the first wife, and then I remember, my grandfather, that girl, she was like a goddess, and I believe in that, that girl, although she was illiterate, because she was ruined by the wealthy. And then when she got married, I tell you, that was one of the best marriages I have seen. I was small, and the Rolex watches and every single thing. And, look at the luck, the guy, you see, when you have your own weakness, and so basically she was sold, in a matter of money, and then her husband, he was basically doing the bicycling. He was a very poor man.
Who is this person you're talking?
He was like a brother-in-law. To say that, my grandfather, his name was Lala Durga Prasad Beri. His first son was Devi Das Beri. Devi Das Beri married, into a very wealthy family, and then his daughter, she also from a very wealthy family. So then he was sort of a spoiled, basically with that. But he was a very nice man. So when his daughter got married, she married a very poor guy.
And now this person, I remember you sharing with me that when your mother married your father.
So this is the second chapter, So my father's elder brother, he had two marriages also.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a break and let's resume later on.
Okay.
Do you have a tax emergency? Okay, let's say the IRS is really looking closely at you. Maybe they sent you a certified letter, right? I know, I've seen that letter. It could say they want 25 grand or more from you, and you don't have it. So what do? Well, you can't pretend like you're at the beach with nothing going on. You need to call the National Tax Experts now for advice. They can help you pay the IRS less if you qualify. They'll take a look at your taxes and see if they can help you pay the IRS a lot less than they claim you owe. If the IRS is threatening you with bank levies, asset seizures, wage garnishments, or even a business shutdown, call now for immediate help. They can stop the IRS actions against you and negotiate a settlement with the IRS, in some cases saving you up to 75%. They even specialize in corporate and payroll tax problems too. So if you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the National Tax Experts now and see how much they can save you.
Welcome back. We're having an animated discussion with Mr. Pradeep Beri, the author of the book My Connie. We wanted to get an understanding of his life experience that led him to write such an amazing book about the love of his life. And I just wanted him to explain to everyone about some events that happened early in your life that I believe have defined your life. One is about your birth mother, and at the age of 2 months,
Yes.
she passed.
She passed, and my elder brother, he was 11 months or 12 months old, So we are two brothers, from the same mother and same father. And her name was Shanti Mami.
Okay.
So she died when I was 2 months old. And after that, immediately, because of the circumstances, they wanted, the children. So so my father married her younger sister, my aunt,
So your father, how many months after your mom died?
That I don't know, but I think immediately, maybe after some
Not
time.
long after your mother died, he
Yes,
married
yes.
her younger sister.
Sister.
And what was that relationship like with her? You remember her?
Yeah, I remember her. I don't remember her when she got married, because I was 2 months old, But I remember her when I was 5 years old, And I remember, she took good care of us, and she was also very beautiful. The both of them were very beautiful girls, So I remember her and taking us, to the one of the best places in Shimla on the Rothni Castle, And I have those pictures, I am waiting for those pictures where they are, because my father showed me all those pictures with my thing, and I asked him many times, to give me those pictures. So he said, no, I'm not going to give it to you. So then I did not get those pictures, from, okay. So now I remember when I was 5 years and 4 months older, and then suddenly, my uncle, her brother, took us, for ice cream. And we took on the way, and over there he never told us. So when we went upstairs, my brother and myself, I saw everybody was weeping and crying, So I saw the dead body of my second mother, Kanta Mummy. And I was 5 years old, 4 months, and I remember her death, her body, and her beautiful sari, and how she was cremated,
So at the age of 5, you've already lost your mother,
And second mother.
and then your second mother at the age
Second,
of 5.
yes.
Not long after that, your
Yeah.
father married again.
Married the third one,
Okay.
And she came from the outside,
So he married sisters initially, and then he married someone else.
Someone else.
Now, from what I was told, she did not necessarily receive you and your
No,
brother and sister.
no.
And you were then had to be raised by who?
By both our grandparents, both, my Berry family and from my mother's family, But mostly I would say I will give more intellectualship, it came from my mother's side, Because with the genes, of my mother, they were very bright. So we got the genes of our mother, our culture, our, this humanity, every single thing, Not that much from the Berry family,
So it was more from
Mother's side.
nature and not nurture. In other words,
Yes.
you believe a lot of what you receive intellectually
Yes, from my
and
mother.
business-wise from your mom. Now, you pursued your education. You graduated from college.
I graduated from school, when I was 16 years old. Then college, one of the best colleges, Shri Ram College of Commerce, which is called SRCC.
Yeah.
And after that, immediately I passed one of the toughest exam. It is called Chartered Accountant, Institute of Chartered Accountant of India. I was going to go to England, to Institute of Chartered Accountant of England and Wales. But my grandfather said, no, I'm not going to send you.
Now you told me that you also are a homeopathic doctor.
Yes, I'm a homeopathic doctor.
So you're a homeopathic doctor. You're an accountant also?
No, I'm a chartered accountant.
Chartered accountant.
Yes, which is a CPA now. So when I came to this country, reciprocal, they gave me a CPA degree,
Wonderful. So we gave you a reciprocal degree based on what you earned
Yes,
in
yes.
India.
It's a very big position, United States of America is the only country where they have CPA. Rest of the country, all the world, they have chartered
Accountant.
And that is started actually in England,
Yes.
It's called the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales, It's called CA. It is one of the biggest, education. Only 3% people they pass,
So when you came here in what year?
I came in 1976. I landed here on the 15th of January.
So 1976, you're a chartered accountant. How old were you at the time when you came
I
to
think
America?
I was about 26 years old.
Okay, you came here to Chicago, is it?
Chicago.
How long after you got here did you meet Constance?
Connie. Immediately after 10 days.
Immediately, and you met her where?
In an Indian restaurant, right across 1543 North Wells Street, Chicago, right across Second City.
All right, and from what I understand, you were actually living
Yes.
at the restaurant upstairs, is it?
Upstairs,
And it was an Indian restaurant.
It was an Indian restaurant, and I was living with three chefs, and I was living with an assistant manager, who was leaving the job, and I was going to replace him,
Now, you met her there, and there's a thing called love at first sight.
Yeah.
Would you say it was
Yeah,
love at
yes,
first sight?
yes.
Okay, so from the love at first sight, how long before you two were married after that?
After 2 meetings, third meeting,
Uh-huh.
we took our blood stem within 6 days,
6 days.
Yes.
Within 6 days after meeting Connie, he was married to her.
Yes. And we went to the court, There was no side, I remember we were walking together after the blood test, We went to the thing, and next day we were walking, because she was living, there, from there we walked together. And she was asking me, are you sure, you want to marry me? She said, if you don't want to marry me, change it, I said, no, let's go. So we went there, and immediately after that, we were the only two people, Connie and myself, and the judge, And the judge, basically said, I have never seen such a happy couple, You are basically lovebirds, And he exchanged the ring, and that's all. That was it was.
No, so you've met her. It's been 6 days. You got married. Can you tell everyone how long did a 6-day relationship last in marriage? How long were you married?
I was married, till she died, in
How
2000.
many years was that?
42 years.
42 years.
I would say even now she's alive with me.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm still married to her.
So let's talk about Connie. Let's
Yes.
talk about Constance,
Yes.
because you've written a tremendous book
Yes,
about
yeah.
your wife.
Yes.
As I've said, most people write technical books, they write novels,
No.
they write biographies.
Yeah.
You wrote about Connie.
Only,
Now you said something about her that with all of your work in business, that you were a good writer, and she had suggested what? That you should do what?
Well, actually, she wanted me to that I should go in my profession, Nothing. She wanted me that you have so much qualification. I want you to do, and I would like you to do even more degrees from this country, She said, you have a lot of degrees, but it is always better to get a degree in the United States of America, because that will give you more experience, exposure, And I was very comfortable, because if Connie was with me, I felt, with my employers, I started working for Pillsbury Corporation, and I got a MBA from there, It's called the Pillsbury Institute of thing, and I worked there for 1 year. She typed the resume. Immediately after that, she told me, I don't want this job. You better get a job, where you don't have to be working day and night. But apparently, that job was also a lot of traveling, So I joined as a senior field examiner with Walter E. Heller and Company. And that company later on, become one of the largest finance company in the world. It called Heller International.
Yes.
And Heller International, they were the one, they sponsored me for the Kellogg Graduate School of Management for my executive MBA program.
Hold that thought right there. And we're going to stop and...
And it was Connie.
Okay, well, I tell you what, hold that thought. And let's take a break and hear some messages from our sponsors. Thank you.
Did your bank turn down your church, or you just want a competitive quote? We have some of the lowest interest rates and best terms on church loans in the country. And we have products that are fixed for up to 30 years with no balloons. Over the past 16 years, we have closed over 1,000 church loans for almost $1 billion in total closed church loans. If your church is looking to refinance, renovate, construct, or purchase a property, we have a program for you. What if your church has poor credit? We have our own private money fund that can provide up to 100% financing and interest-only payments. We don't charge any upfront fees, and our loans do not normally require any personal guarantees. Our motto is simple and clear. Tell them honestly, charge them fairly, and close them quickly. Call us today, 800-710-6762.
I'm talking to you today about an amazing author, Mr. Pradeep Berry, who's the author of a book called Connie, or Constance, which is what his wife's name was. And I wanted him to dig a little deeper into this amazing person that he felt so compelled to write about. You share with me that Connie was very educated.
Very educated.
Tell everybody about her education.
Well, she went to the Glenbrook High School, in Deerfield. She was born in Glenview, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, and then she went to this college. Is one of the best liberal arts colleges. It is called Carleton, Carlton, Carleton in Northfield, Minnesota.
Okay.
And I went with there. It's one of the finest liberal arts. Then later on, she went to University of Michigan. And then later on, she was also joined to some time for Harvard, But then later on, she decided, it was too much for her because she wanted to do specialization in Mexico. So then she was also went to Mexico and Spain, and she got a very close to a PhD degree, for her thesis, So she cultivated herself into the Spanish and French and German, So she taught in France, she taught in Germany with the army base. She also taught in Spain. Then she went to California. She taught at Hayward University. Then she came to Chicago. And then that's all, basically I met her in Chicago in the Indian restaurant. And immediately she changed my life because she told me that you are so intelligent. She only met me for 1 hour, and she told me that I want to talk to you because you don't deserve to be working in a restaurant, You have to go and find your own on a path, on your career, And then she changed my life, She pulled me out from the restaurant, I went to the Pillsbury, and then finally, she wrote a resume, and I went to Walter Helder and Company, and I found a great job. And after 3 months, I was promoted, to the senior person, and then determination came that I have to this, and Connie told me that I want you to become a man so that, you are a winner, because you have seen a lot of bad things, and I'm sure, that when you go back to India, everybody will salute, And she said, because I'm coming with you, then I don't want, she was a very humble. She was much humble, and I'm a very humble person. And we were like two bodies and one soul. We were so close, that I think when I used to leave her, I used to work very hard, but I will call them, and then she will tell me, do you really have to work so hard, Do you have, why don't you rest, But I was a very compulsive person, And so many times, she was very angry with me. She said, you know what, they are not paying you anything extra. You have a life, But I used to come, one thing was there, I used to work very hard so that I can come back early on the Friday. Sometime I will come back on Thursday. So we were missing each other, and I could not live without her when I was traveling, every day phone, every day minute phone, I would call her even her on the school also, on the college also. And then she said, is it necessary for you to call me every so much? I said, no, I miss her, and she used to miss me too.
So it sounds like she really saw something in you.
Yes, I'm sure, she saw me something because I was in the restaurant business, and she saw, and she told me this thing. Her friends told me later on that Pradeep, Connie told us that when I met Pradeep, she knew this thing, that this man is he will be very loyal to me. And she told me this thing that, Pradeep, when I met you, I found you that you were very loyal, You immediately, when I asked you to come over to my house, you came over. Although when I asked her, I said, did I come to your house? I brought her. She said, no, because I know this thing that you are very poor, So she helped me. She cultivated me.
Now, you told me also that you traveled
all
extensively
over
around
the world, She went to India 7 times. And then she took me to Alaskan cruise, She took me to Spain. We went to Norwegian cruise. We went to Budapest. We went to Tuscany with the University of Michigan. We went to Ireland. We went to London, We went to Switzerland. And we went to also the Rome. We went to Strasbourg. We went to Paris. We went to Black Mountains. Then we took a cruise, to Vienna.
Yeah.
Then we also went to the Mozart's house, from Budapest to Vienna to Frankfurt to Amsterdam.
Right.
And then before that also, we were taking mini vacations, sometime in Wisconsin, Hawaii we went to this thing. In India, We were traveling all over the country. You know, we went to Kashmir. We went to Taj Mahal. We went to Jaipur, and also many people don't even know that there is a great place called Palace on Wheels.
Palace on Wheels.
Palace on Wheels. That's a king size. You know, this is one of the best. It's very expensive.
Now, Pradeep, it sounds like you have good reason to write
Yes, because
this book about Connie.
Yes, because
the world wouldn't have known her
yes.
and her impact on your life had
Yeah.
you not written this book.
Actually, if I had not met her, my exposure in this world would have been zero. I would have never traveled anywhere, you know.
My goodness. Now,
After her death, to be honest with you, I have Hilton points, you know, 2 million Hilton points, you know. And I am paying $5,000 for that, you know, every year, you know, for the maintaining, you know. She did tell me this thing that, Pradeep, don't sell it, you know.
my
It
goodness.
was a big investment. It is a DD, you know, to me.
Let me share something with everyone too. You shared with me that she was a humanitarian
Very
and
humanitarian.
a philanthropist.
Yes.
She donated to what causes before she died?
Mostly for education, for sickness, for blind children, you know, and for all humanity work, you know. For the children's education, for the TV program, for the symphony program, you know, for the University of Michigan, Carleton College, you know, and this medical care and palliative care, St. Jude's Hospital. Every charity, you know, she used to even donate money to the orchestra symphony, Channel 7, you know.
Now,
And the thing is that she will never tell me. And I found out later on. Even now, I'm getting the letters, you know, from her, you know. And so many times, you know, I had to write these things, you know, that she had died. But even then, they are sending me St. Jude's. So now I was sending a lot of money in her memoriam, you know.
to let them know that she had passed.
Yes. But later on, you know, I started getting. They are not still stopping. Now they are sending the mail in my name.
Well, let me just say this. I understand why this book now.
Yes.
And this book is available on Amazon.
Barnes and Nobles and
Noble.
Author House, you know. And
Author House.
Yes, and now they are going to put this book in the many stores, you know. And also, just so you know, that I was also interviewed by Kate Delaney on the interview. And I am going to have a second interview with Kate Delaney next week, you know.
Wonderful. Let me just say this, everyone. Get the book, find out a little more about Connie, an extraordinary woman. Thank you, Pradeep Berry. Let me just say thank you for sharing this.
You know, I'm very grateful to you. Because
Thank
this book is not a book simply, it is a knowledge tank, you know. It has so many valuable things, you know. I would say I would recommend this book, you know, for the academic students, you know, because it has a true culture. It has a story of two cultures, you know, where I have mentioned about Chanakya, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Swami Vivekananda, you know.
Exactly. This book is full of teachings and
Teaching,
philosophies.
you know, life, you know, death,
That's great.
and Lord Krishna's thing, you know, knowledge, you know, and spirituality. But I tell you one thing, after reading this book, you know, Khalid Gibran, Ragveda, Lord Krishna.
Yes.
And
Pradeep, you have so much to share. Thank you for joining us today. And please buy this book from Pradeep Berry about this extraordinary wife, Connie. Thank you.